Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us here at Corporate College. My name is Suzanne Ortiz, and I am so grateful to be joined today with two event planning experts. I have Anne and Nancy. Yay! I'm so excited. So I'd like you both to kind of introduce yourself. So why don't we start with Anne?
Great. Thanks, Suzanne. So my name is Anne Luketic. I'm a full-time corporate planner for Progressive Insurance. I also teach part-time at Corporate College, and I teach the fundamentals of event management class. I'm a 30-year veteran of the meetings and events industry. I've been planning large corporate events for Northeast Ohio's largest corporations over the past 30 years. I do hold two industry certifications. I have a CMM, a CMP, and I I'm very involved in the meetings industry. I belong to several associations and sit on the board of a few of them, and just excited to be here and share a little bit about the event planning world.
Great, thank you. Nancy?
Hi, thanks, Suzanne. I'm Nancy Farinacci. I'm Special Events Manager for Cuyahoga Community College. I also have been in the event industry in a different aspect than Anne, in the respect that I did a lot of nonprofit fundraising events, and also I mentor the students in the event planning program through our hospitality management program at the college. I have a couple of basic classes that I teach through community ed. But it's ongoing, and I'm learning every day a lot from Anne as to what this industry is all about. So we will get to it. Thank you.
See, this is the exact reason that Anne and Nancy are on this call. I have about maybe 5 years of event planning experience, so I'm so excited to learn a little bit more about just the general industry, especially with the pandemic and what we have going forward. So, why don't we talk just a little bit about how you got involved in event planning? So, we're just going to go again in alphabetical order, and Anne, go ahead.
Great, thanks. So basically, like many longtime planners, I fell into the industry. I was working an operations job at a local investment firm and started planning one or two small events and kind of grew along the years. And eventually, I was hired on as a vice president of events and marketing for one of our large regional banks. And I started doing all our conferences, our investor relations meetings, high net worth other meetings and et cetera. And it kind of grew. So I spent the next 15 years at that company working in the industry. And over the years, I discovered there's others like me that actually plan events, and there's whole associations around it, people I can network with. And then there's all kinds of continuing education and things that are offered with it. So no, very excited. And like I said, over the years, just kind of grew my position and have worked for mostly financial and insurance companies over the years and doing mostly incentive trips and corporate conferences.
Great, great. Nancy, what about you? I know you have a little bit of a different background.
Yeah, I do. I think in the delivery room with my mom, I started working in the restaurant business. Our family had restaurants and catering businesses for a number of years, starting with nightclubs and neighborhood restaurants and fine dining, banquets, offsite catering. So I really grew up in the business and did a little bit of the events through there. And then I became a GM of a restaurant in downtown Cleveland where we did extensive themed events in addition to our fine dining. I then moved down to a nonprofit organization where I was director of development there and did several fundraising events for that organization, and did a little bit different turn and came to the college, which is a little bit different. Budgets are a little bit
Mm.
different, and did events from that perspective, but also working on some offsite community events involved in our senior programs, putting events together, our chef's table, so on and so forth. And as I mentioned, working with the event planning students. Mhm.
So as you look at both your backgrounds, I mean, they're different, right? But there's so many similarities. I mean, you have project management, you have budgets, you have relationship building, and all of this intertwined. And so we look at the state of the world right now, and I'm sure that you could have told me even if I asked you this question 10 years ago, how has event planning changed? What's different, right? I mean, we look at real estate, and now they're doing drone tours. I mean,
Mm.
there's so many different things that have changed, but what have you seen change in the industry? I mean, you both talk about the 30 plus years of experience. So, what's changed in the industry and what's the outlook going to look like? I mean, are we going to be able to get together with, people just
Mhm.
in any type of capacity? And do you want to start that conversation?
Sure. Yeah, so much has changed since I started. Obviously, some of the technology is probably the biggest thing, especially during COVID. There's just technology is ever changing, and incorporating it into events is crucial. There's different things that have been offered over the years that between the registration systems and the mobile apps, and like you said, the drone footage and that can be part of an event, and it just kind of got bigger and badder. um, Definitely, there's more focus on event planning. Back when I started, it was kind of a nice to have, and now companies are realizing how beneficial it is for them to have, and to have somebody that's trained and versed in it to be running some of their events departments or running their events. That's been a big thing. The growth in the industry has been amazing. When I first started, there were only about 2,000 certified event planners in the United States, and now I think there's like something over 22,000 CMPs, just CMPs, people that are certified in it. And you know, it's a huge business. Yes, we took a hit with COVID. A lot of people were laid off. A lot of people left the industry, but it's coming back, and it's coming back in a vengeance. We have uh, the 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 anticipated job market for event planning is substantial. It's much more than most average positions that are out there. Plus, the industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry and just continues to grow. So there's a lot of different things that have changed over the years with it.
Wow. Can you real quick before I go on to Nancy, can you talk about the benefit of having someone plan the events? I mean, I've done event planning before. I mean, I'm not an event planner, I'm not certified. So what's the difference of, having someone who is certified versus just me saying, yeah, yeah, put that over there, go ahead and put
Mhm.
that there. I mean, there's a lot more involved. So can you just talk a little bit about that piece of it?
Sure. Yeah, so the Events Industry Council, which kind of governs over all the events industry, basically sets some standards for events and just some training because as anybody can get training from anywhere, but this is kind of standardized training, kind of focuses on the key areas. Again, these are experts out there that are learning about the latest technology, learning about the latest trends, et cetera, and then putting it together and training others on it, which is great. Yes, anybody can plan events. I mean, it is, but the complexity of it, like you said, with the project management, I think that's where you get your key training. Having somebody that has that trained project management specifically to events, um, you know, just working with the different areas, just knowing the nuances. There's no like workbook that tells you, how to deal with a hotel or how to manage transportation or risk management. Risk management's huge now. Contract negotiation, that's one of the bigger ones. When you think about it, when you think of all the meetings that were canceled over the years and rescheduled, I mean, just having somebody that's versed with that and the legalese and uh, you know, just the experience is probably the biggest thing. So just like again, having somebody trained, somebody that's always trying to be on top of their game, continues to get training on it because everything changes so rapidly.
And just like technology, right? And all that fields. Nancy, do you want to chime in on the difference that you're even seeing from the industry?
Yeah, and summed it up really well. But I'll take it from the experience of the students that I'm working with, and compare it to 8 years ago when I was mentoring students in the event planning program, and how it was kind of, pretty much this is what we have to do, and they go on, they earn their certificate, and they feel they can hang their shingle out, which we all know it all takes, it's all about experience as well. But now the students that I mentor actually are very concerned. They're very concerned because there's just such a wide scope of knowledge that you need, because even though we may come out of when we come out of this pandemic, as Anne said, the companies and whatnot are will still continue to do hybrid, and that's a whole new ballgame for some of these students, and a little bit, they're a little bit concerned about it, and so they really are trying to grasp and absorb every avenue they can in event planning because it's changed so much.
Do you both feel like you can be a little bit more creative though now?
Mm.
Like we have a facility rental team here, and they plan a lot of the conferences and the events that go on here at corporate college. And I don't know, I've seen some amazing stuff come out of them. I'm like, whoa, you really thought outside of the box. Do you both feel like this is really your opportunity to have that hurrah moment with confetti type of stuff going on? And do you want to start that?
Yeah, I was thinking that when Nancy was talking. Yeah. I mean, that is one of the key things too, is again, there's a skill set and there's some basics you can do, but we're really challenged to make it bigger and better and bolder than any other ones. And just having the opportunity to network with others that are doing it and get ideas off of that, and then just that creativity part of it is probably the key one, because once you get that down and really focus on that and really get those great ideas going, then you can call on the help from some of your vendors, et cetera, to help you really execute it. So yes, I think creativity is one of the biggest things that people are looking for, like you said with the drones. I mean, how do we introduce this to, or this technology to assist with our meetings, or when we all went home to work from home, how the heck do we make an incentive trip virtual and make them still feel like they're sitting on a cruise ship, sipping a beer or whatever? So yeah, it's challenging, but it can be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Nancy, do you want to piggyback? I know you've definitely taken creativeness here at the college.
I'm going to speak from the pandemic part of it. You know, what the pandemic, I think what has all taught us is to be more conscious of our sanitary conditions in our
Hmm.
environment. And I think that it's a new level that we're taking these events, paying attention to that, and making sure that we're meeting the needs of all different people, because that's not going to change. We are now conditioned to do that. And that's not going to change whether the pandemic, I don't believe it is, whether the pandemic stays or leaves. Hopefully it'll leave. So that you really do have to be creative in how you're going to meet their needs and make sure everybody's covered, not offensive to, that they feel safe.
Yeah, and that brings in that problem solving too. You talk
Mhm.
about project management and stuff too. And I know one of the reasons we're having this conversation is because we have these amazing new courses that have come out. And I know that we're going to have a ton more coming up in the future. But right now we're focusing on a small group of courses. So, as we look at individuals who are in event planning or people who are starting off in event planning or kind of navigating everything that's going on, what benefits do the classes have right now? Like, what are they going to be learning that can help them right now and in the future and even build their career? Because I know some people are working within a company like we are, but then there's other people who want to do this on their own, right? I mean, they want to make a full-time job entrepreneur
Hmm.
living wage doing this. So, Angie, you want to talk a little bit about you know, how the courses can help us? How can they give us what we need?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. Yeah. So you kind of hit some of it. One, experience. So you're going to learn from experienced professionals. Not only myself and Nancy, but occasionally I invite some guest speakers to come in. So just getting that knowledge of people that have lived through it before. We kind of customize the classes to the students that are involved. So since they are so intimate, we're able to concentrate on things. Yeah, we're going to learn how to do budgets and food and beverage menus and decor and marketing, etc. However, we're also going to learn how to adjust. As Nancy said, with COVID, we had to adjust. So, adjusting that budget to fit your needs, etc. We'll learn some of that. We cover, I cover a broad range of topics in my class. Like I said, in addition to the logistical things, again, the creative, the marketing. We do touch on technology quite a bit because it's necessary in our field. Um, I'm trying to think what else.
There's too much, right?
Yeah, there's too much. Yeah.
Nancy, what about you? What are you thinking with as Ann talks about some of the classes?
Yeah, so I am, Anne's class is wonderful. And one of the reasons that I always suggest that class is because, you can do your event planning program or whatever, you get the basics or whatever, and you feel that you're ready. But, we're all a little bit, there's areas that we all need to sharpen our skills in, regardless of what level of event planning we're in. And her class certainly points to that and kind of brings your comfort level into another level, so to speak, in what she teaches. Because there's people like, let's say for example, they're going into wedding planning, and they think it's pretty basic and whatnot, but they need to sharpen their skills because there's so much to know about it. And Anne's class really, really points to that. It's really very, very informational and educational. Love it.
Oh, thanks, Nancy.
I love it. Thank you all for joining us. I just want to pause and say, Anne, do you have anything else that you'd like to add, before we close out this wonderful conversation that we're having?
Just again, urge people to do the research and take a look at the classes and see what fits for them. Like I said, they are, there's so much more to it than what's on page. I mean, you can't just put everything on there. So, and I'm sure, if they have any questions, they can reach out to myself or Nancy or you, Suzanne, and we can give them some more details on the classes.
Absolutely. Nancy, anything else you'd like to say before we close?
Uh, just agree with Anne. Study those classes and see what is a good fit for you. We offer all levels, so
Mm.
I'm sure you'll find something that fits you.
And
There's a
as you
little
all
something
can
for
see,
everyone.
yes, and there's a reason that we had this session with these two wonderful individuals. Both Anne and Nancy teach our classes. As Anne mentioned, there are other instructors, but you can see our classes that we teach, the people that we have on staff are quality, have the subject matter expertise that is needed. Within this video, there is our website. You can go to corporatecollege.com, be able to view all of our classes that we currently have scheduled and ones that we're going to be having in the future. I won't give any teasers just yet,
Mhm.
but know that there's definitely ones that are going to be out there. So thank you all very much for joining us and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you.